I'm Jeremy White, and it's a bad day to be time of possession, turnover differential, or balance.
I'm Joe Marino, and that was probably Jeremy White's favorite Bills game ever.
I'm the big O Jerry Ostroski, and it's not Ricky Vaughn, but the wild thing, Josh Allen is back. This is the Locked On Network, and you're watching Bill Squad.
Who's ready, Bills Mafia? It's the Bills Squad. Everything Buffalo Bills, every week. Breaking down the big hits and game-changing plays the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. So gear up and squad up. The Bill Squad show starts now.
Welcome in, Bills Mafia. A victory Sunday, and you'll have a victory Monday once again. The Bills beat the Bucs 44-32, and some crazy stats from this one. Jeremy White, Joe Marino, and the big O Jerry Ostroski here with an hour for you to break down what we saw, what happened, all the storylines from the game. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So we came in worried about the offense, windy day. They're going to have to run it 50 times. And, of course, like everybody thought, instead, they threw the ball all over the field. Josh Allen over 300 yards passing. The offense looks great with some minor tweaks and changes. And, the defense, maybe we'll talk about. We've got a lot to get to. Big days for Sean Tucker and Josh Allen, really. Gentlemen, listen, that's an enjoyable game. What's not to love? Your heart rate the whole time, your blood pressure, like that's what I want back from my Bills. I'm thrilled today.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, I put a nitroglycerin tablet under my tongue about halfway through the third quarter because I thought I was like Fred Sanford. I was going down. But, man, I'll tell you, it was one of those games, and it's the style that we've talked about for so long. Tampa Bay won the running game. They won the time of possession. They won the turnover battle. They controlled the line of scrimmage, but the Bills won the explosives. They won the explosive plays. They were able to get it done with quarterback play and explosives, and just a wild, wild game, a game where the Bucs control the clock 34 minutes and 21 seconds, Bills 23-47, and just went back to that old wild style of Bills football where Josh Allen found a way to make plays. And it's amazing just the difference. One receiver goes down, two receivers come up, and all of a sudden there's a lot of space on that field. And it was a good day for the Bills offense for sure.
6 touchdowns from Josh Allen. Let's just take a moment to appreciate that he now is the all-time record holder for touchdowns before age 30. No one else in the history of the NFL has scored more touchdowns before the age 30 than Josh Allen. I am just thrilled for that. I'm thrilled for the scoring. I'm thrilled for the style of play and what it looked like. And I kind of want to take my opportunity right here that I'm supposed to share my initial thoughts about the game, and I got to go right to Jeremy. But, dude, how do you feel, man? I mean, this was in the years of having conversations with you about the Buffalo Bills, this feels like exactly what you're looking for. How do you feel?
I feel like this is their best path to win the whole thing, is to have your freak show quarterback that can run or rip it downfield, do exactly that. And the Bills have reinforcements coming on defense probably. They got a lot of injuries there. They've got their issues. But my formula for the Bills, the best I ever feel about them, is to watch them do what they did. You know what they did not try to do today, guys? Thread the needle of balance and commit to James Cook. A couple plays got blown up early. What'd they do? Like, all right, time to just rip down the field. Todd Bowles going to rush 3. Okay, Josh, wait and find your first 40-yard air yard touchdown pass since 2022. Oh, welcome back. We're back. Tyrell Shaver's a big catch. Joe, you got to be happy. Passes to the running backs.
Yes.
We're back. So many things were back. The only wide receiver screens we saw, there's like a couple of those. The offense was no longer built out of efficiency. Instead, they played a game like, we're probably going to have to score 40, so let's go score 40. And they put up 44. I mean, I just think that's the Bills, and that's Josh Allen at their best, not threading needles. Just let's go do it. All gas all the time.
I'm especially surprised that they continued with it because it started off extremely shaky. You know, they throw the ball in the first 2 plays of the game, and I'm like, oh, God, the one thing everybody wanted him to do And then you run the layered mesh concept, and nobody's open. Josh is climbing the pocket. Doesn't seem like there's nowhere to go with the football, and then he flicks one for a giveaway, and you're like, oh no, like this is going to be, they're going to turtle up from here. And maybe it was just a matter of realizing that they couldn't turtle up and have a chance, but it certainly does feel like with the deficiencies that this team has on defense, let's face it, they can't stop the run. I mean, not that that's any type of breaking news, but you're talking about this Bucs team that is average at best with their rushing offense, with a third running back in Sean Tucker that looks like he's LaDainian Tomlinson out there against this Bills run defense. They just don't have it. And I think as I've said repeatedly, the way that you can help your run defense is you just have to score. There's nothing happening this year in terms of personnel or scheme that's going to change the deficiencies what the Bills have with run defense. You have to score to be able to get there. And certainly the Bills were willing to open it up. And we certainly had a lot of fun. You worry about like the transitive nature of a game like this, and can you replicate some of the things that went your way? But it's hard for me not to watch a game like this, seeing the run defense and the issues that exist there, and the big plays that can happen when Josh just goes YOLO, and feel like for this team that it might not be the best way for them to approach playing football games.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, and I think the defensive play forced the Bills into this style. This forced them back to the old days of what they did, and it was typical Bills defense of old, right? Couldn't stop the run, giving up big plays, but they got 2 big turnovers when they needed them.
Yeah.
Huge turnovers, which took possessions away from the Bucs and gave the Bills a chance to get the lead, and they did. I mean, this is not all bad was on defense. There were some good performances and some people that did some good things. Now, it was limited, but again, we see the maturation of Cole Bishop right in front of us, a guy that handled adversity extremely well, worked hard, and now is turning into a reliable heck of a pro safety on this Bills roster. And it was good to see him make another huge play where he read it, dropped Sterling Shepard underneath, and continued on with the route and made that pick. I mean, if you watch Baker, he was amazed that he was there when he threw it. But this is old Bills defense, right? And we can talk about the run here in a little run defense in a little bit. I don't think, I coached for a long time, and it was funny. I wasn't a very good coach when we didn't have very good players. And then when we had real good players, all of a sudden I was the best coach that ever walked on the field, right? I think we're seeing a lot of that in Buffalo, and the people that like to, throw shade at coaching and stuff, you really need to take a deep dive into what they got to work with right now on that defensive side of the ball. But heck, man, it was like I said, all the way across the board. It was an old style Bills type of game.
One huge coaching adjustment defensively in this game that I thought was big is how they changed their third down rush package.
Yes.
They went back to putting Dorian Williams on the field as the spy mirror player.
Yep.
And Jerry, this is going to sound ridiculous. This is nothing that any coach would ever agree with, but I think this is a true statement when it comes to the Bills and rushing the passer. They are better rushing 3 and letting them rush however the heck they want with Dorian over top as a cleanup spy mirror player than just rushing 4 and hoping that they stay in their lanes, because they just can't get off the block, or they wind up having a situation where the quarterback's able to step up and find space, and that kills them. When they have that freedom to rush with 3 and Dorian over the top, like that's where they got some big third down stops there late in the game.
Without a doubt, I think that was a huge adjustment. And the thing is, you add that player in Baker that wants to get to the Lancey like Josh does and wants to get out. Now, instead of eyes down the field all the time, eyes are looking where that spy is. He's aware that he's there. Joey Bosa had a tough game, but if you watched it, the first play of the game, I mean, he was in distress the whole game. He re-hurt that, he re-injured that wrist the first drive of the game and battled through it. I mean, hell, we had TJ Sanders fresh off the IR that hadn't been out there in 6 many weeks, taking meaningful snaps at defensive end. I mean, that's where we are right now on defense as far as the line goes. But no, I thought I'm with you, Joe. That was the best adjustment that was made. That, honestly, we should probably get away from the Javon Solomon nickel look and go right into that, and just that be our that be our third and long type of package from here on out.
Bills defense makes just enough plays. Cole Bishop, another interception for him, which was great to see. Like he's really in the last month come on to that job and been a steadying force back there. It was interesting to see the Bills. I think we're platooning Max Hairston again, like switching series with Tre'Davious White, because at one point I didn't see him out there. I wondered about that, but they're kind of still holding it together on defense, and we'll have plenty to say about that, I'm sure. But let's talk about the offense, guys. Gabe Davis is out there, and he gets targets, and they pay off. Could have had a touchdown. Didn't come up with that one catch. Tough catch. Quick throw, quick slant. But, Joe, we talked about this during the week, that the way Gabe was going to win was with making a corner play through him. And is that exactly the throw? Like, he picks up a fourth down catch where it's exactly that. What's the corner going to do? He doesn't need to separate because he's going to kind of post up for 3 yards and get the job done.
Yeah, that's when I say winning leverage battles, that's exactly what I mean. That was huge. That was a fourth down, and Josh just stuck it right in there, and he made a heck of a catch. And then the other big play was kind of on a scramble drill where Josh is rolling to his right, and, well, the savvy veteran Gabe Davis knows how to find space and present an available target for the quarterback. I think that this offense was improved because of Gabe Davis being part of it. Of course, Josh Palmer, not necessarily a huge production game, but just having another route runner out there, getting away from Keon as well. And you didn't even have Dalton Kincaid in this game. So I think there was some really good adjustments here for this Bills offense, but probably more than anything is just Josh. I felt like he kind of, I hate to say that he took the training wheels off. You know what I mean? But he did, man. Well, he took off the helmet and said, "Let's go, baby. Let's freelance here."
Look at, you see Shakir's stat line? Like, no Kincaid, and Shakir was not even really involved in the game.
No, and the 2 times they went to him on the third down bubbles, boy, those plays got blown up. Jacob Parrish, Knox couldn't make the block. That's a tough block to get out there in space, but Jacob Parrish knew it was coming. He went down there and took the play, and then the other got blown up, but fortunately there was a penalty, the face mask, because that was another play where, maybe that game's a little bit different at the end if they have to kick a field goal there. Or nobody knows the result of the field goal. I know there's wind, and you don't get the 2-score lead with the touchdown. I mean, both the times they went back to that bubble, it got blown up, and they kind of got bailed out.
And like, this all tied in for me, like how I hope and want them to play offense. It was not about we need to get into third and manageable. It was a lot less of that. They threw that screen to Shakir twice. It got absolutely demolished both times. Shakir ends up with -3 yards receiving. Yeah. Just like everyone thought. Tyrell Shavers, 4 for 90. Come on, Tyrell Shavers. Let's go. Have a day. James Cook involved in the passing game. Gabe Davis, Ty Johnson, Dawson Knox down the field a little bit. So instead of this offense where it's just, hand it to Cook and screen it to Shakir and throw it to Kincaid because you're just desperately trying to avoid turnovers, instead of that, you just played football offensively. You just acted like you have a unicorn quarterback, and he played like one. And even though it was still scattershot for him, he missed open throws. He misses the 2-point conversion. He misses a efficiency, schmefficiency. What'd you get? You got 44 on the board, right? Like, I just feel like that's who he is. Let's accept that he's Bryson DeChambeau. He's going to bomb the ball. Sometimes he's going to win. Sometimes he's going to lose, but he shouldn't be hitting irons off the tee because it's safer. Play your game.
I almost feel like he had such big windows and guys open early. He was missing them because he hadn't seen that in like 10 weeks. He was kind of astonished. But, the other thing he did I thought was really good was he was decisive out of the pocket. It wasn't just haphazard and roam around. When he saw something, he went for it, and his feet were right and those types of things. But I keep having to go back to Gabe Davis and Palmer. And like I said, are we all of a sudden saying we're right and we've got, wide receiver 1 and 2? No, I'm not. But the space from 10 to 20 yards to me was different. There was a ton of space underneath the deep throws, and I would have to think it was because of those two doing what they're supposed to do down the field. Some of those plays to Cook and then James Cook as well, or Dalton Knox, and James Cook out of the backfield. I mean, those were easy throws. They were wide open throws because there was space. There wasn't a bunch of guys clogged inside because we're sitting there trying to force feed 13 and hell, sometimes 14 personnel. It was different. And I hope that we see this again next week in Houston.
Yeah, definitely a more experienced receiver core when you just kind of think about, Keon, and who, a year and a half in his career, and all of a sudden Josh Palmer's in there, who's a veteran, Gabe Davis, who's a veteran's on the field a lot more, even Dawson Knox playing a lot more. So I think there was something to be said for that, and understanding spacing and getting to, I hate to call it like geezer ball, but just some know-how out there on the field to find some space. Felt very meaningful against a Bucs defense. I mean, it's not like the Bills did this against the Bengals, right? This is a pretty decent Bucs defense here. That's one of the best pressure teams in the league, one of the best blitz teams in the league. And, the Bills are able to get creative and score some points today.
And here's the other thing that I think is telling. I mean, a team that's been all about ball control, all about line of scrimmage, all about all this stuff, running the ball and everything. Today, their efficiency over volume, they had 50 offensive snaps is all they had.
Yeah.
And they had 405 yards and 44 points. I mean, that's 8.1 yards per play. I mean, that's absurd. The efficiency they had in 50 snaps is compared to trying to grind out 75 and, establish that run and everything. It's just, 6 of 10 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. I mean, it was like a completely different game than we saw last week in Miami.
Seeing real quickly, Keon Coleman after the game asked by Matt Perino and the assorted media on getting benched, he said, quote, just got to be better. And then asked, is there a lesson not being learned, as this is the second time this season being late? And he said, no, I wouldn't say that. Like, the lesson's not being learned. Interesting. We'll hear from head coach Sean McDermott and get his comment on why Coleman was not performance-based, missed a Friday meeting. And Jerry, we got to get your take on that as well, because you texted us in the group chat about like a Friday meeting and what that means. So lots to continue to get to. We got to shout out the special teams. The Bills win. They are 7-3. It's a win over a good team. It's a win at Highmark Stadium, and it's a win where Josh Allen is, I think, a pretty good lock for AFC Offensive Player of the Week. He's got to look at it. And Sean Tucker might get in the NFC because he had a pretty good day too.
They don't give that to losing teams, but
are you sure?
I might be a case this week for sure.
Might be. All right, we'll step aside for 1 minute, be right back. If you want to drop a comment, you can. We usually get some comments and questions towards the end. Bills win 44-32, beat the Bucs, and short week, it'll be Houston. But we've got lots more to get to and dig into this game coming up here on the Bill Squad Show. This episode of Bill Squad brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. And you can say yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it very simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text. You get 5G. Mint Mobile is going to offer you what you need in that department. And with Mint Mobile, of course, you get the same quality service you had before for a fraction of the price. The setup is easy. Keep your number, and you're running in minutes. So if you're ready to say yes to saying no, make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Back here on the Bill Squad Show after the Bills beat the Bucs, a 44-32 final to move to 7-3. Jeremy White, Joe Marino, and the Big O, Jerry Ostroski. Want to get one stat for you here because, as you pointed out earlier, Joe, 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns for Josh Allen. At the end of the broadcast, they said that Allen was the second quarterback ever to have 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns in the same game. And the first ever to do it was Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He did it last year. So pretty good from him. Nice to see him back and eager to kind of catch his mood in post game and see, if he's just vibing off of what they did there in Orchard Park.
The last touchdown where there was some physicality involved. Like, I felt things. I stood up and I was flexing. I'm like, Josh, you better flex with me here, dude. It kind of felt like you were back with your quarterback. You know what I mean? For the first time in a while. And let's be honest, some bad things happened to the Bills in this game. 2 Josh Allen interceptions, the McCole Hardman muff punt. Holy smokes, did that suck? Right? Like, that's the type of moments for a team like the Bills that want to play this low event, clock control, limit possessions. Those are killers. If you want to play that style of football. You gave the ball to Tampa. They got at the 7-yard line. The Bills 7, they had a short field. You get a big stop out of the half. You get a big stop at 3 and out. You didn't think you could even do it. And McCole Hardman gives the ball back. Like, you went from having a double dip to basically gifting them a double dip. They overcame a lot in this game, and it's because Josh Allen willed it.
The other thing about it is this. I mean, you watch this game, you look at this, the way it all went down. It's almost like Tampa Bay, Joe and Jeremy. Tampa Bay did what the Bills have been doing all season.
Yeah.
It was like flip to the script. You had Baker Mayfield. He was efficient, but he was 12 of 28 for 173. Not gaudy, but he had the rushing touchdown, kept the chains moving. You look at Tucker, had the 203 yards, not counting the the explosives from him and the 43-yard touchdown catch. It was almost like a flip script. that they did what we normally do. And like we talked about earlier, explosives went out today. But yeah, I mean, I thought, as much as the defense got flack, Joe, that stop to hold them to 3 after the turnover was big time huge. And then they go ahead and get the stop again. So again, this is the old Bills script, right? We're going to give up yards and all that, but just don't give up more points than we score and everything will be great.
Well, the first 2 interceptions, they got 3 points off of it.
Right.
You almost like, well, I guess that didn't really matter. The muffed punt was the killer because there was
no reason for that.
No, and you wanted to come out and score, right? Obviously, you get the ball first out of the half and you go 3 and out.
Right.
And then they answer with a 3 and out. You're like, okay, we're good. And then you get the stop and McCole Hardman friggin' muffs the punt and they go 7 plays, 43 yards. I didn't feel good at that moment in time, but the rest of this thing played out and it was pretty cool.
Bills win a 44-32 final. So on the muff punt by Hardman, that's maybe not the one low spot. Special teams played a huge role in this game. I mean, the returns, the Bills had over 200 yards in returns on their first 5 returns in the game. So like constantly winning the field position battle, something they had struggled with this year. It's why Hardman was brought in. The punter, again, like burying Tampa a couple times. Like, I thought it was a great day for Chris Tabor and the special teams. And I wanted to ask you what you guys thought about the holding penalty on the blocked kick. Like, I know the rules sometimes are different on a field goal than a regular. It looked like he just kind of, Alec Anderson just kind of chucked his guy to the ground. I don't know. Was that holding? Jerry, what's the rule there?
Well, you're not allowed to grab and pull.
Okay.
It was kind of one of those deals where, I hit him in the face, but I hit him with an open hand, not a fist, right? I mean, he did it. He did it, but it wasn't bad, but he did do it, and that is the rule. And you watch him, he puts both hands on his back. He doesn't really grab his jersey and yank. He kind of pulls him forward with an open hands. Honestly, if that guy can fall forward that easily with what he did, I kind of question that guy more than the grab and pull. But by rule, that was an infraction.
Another thing they overcame. That would have been a huge momentum opportunity because, of course, you get the stop, everyone had the same thought. 30-something seconds. They got a couple of timeouts. The Bills' defense is no good. They're going to get some points here, and then they threaten, and you hold the field goal. It's blocked. That was a huge momentum moment. And the Bills overcame that as well.
And, I will say this about the Bills offense. I had this point earlier. I just remembered it. While they didn't have the type of rushing game that they normally do have, when it got down to when it was important in that 4-minute drill, they hammered the ball and got big runs. So it was nice to see them be able to go to it again when they needed it.
Did they run it differently in the final quarter of the game? Because it looked like what wasn't working was the toss. They thought the toss was going to work, and then later when they're running out clock, it seemed like it was much more in line.
They know James Cook likes to run outside the tackles, and they know that Buffalo does a very good job in outside run schemes of washing everything and all that. We've talked about it a little bit in the past. So they're forcing the Bills to be more of a vertical downhill rushing team and forcing that offensive line. So when they get into more of their gap stuff, as you remember, the one big run was the Spencer Brown pull. We call that a dart play, where out of a sub look, out of a limited personnel as far as power run, you pull the tackle by himself. He makes the kick out, and they get up inside of it. That was a big run. But when they got downhill north-south as opposed to going lateral and east-west, that's when they had their success. And honestly, the next couple of weeks are going to have to do that because I think teams are on to them and what they do. So they need to get a few weeks on film of hammering downhill before they get back outside on some stuff.
I thought I saw a couple of fold schemes with the guards and tackles as well there in the second half, which helped them win those perimeter blocks. I think they wanted to run away from Vea. I think they wanted to run it like they did against Carolina, which even I think I said that last week.
Right.
And one thing I probably didn't account for is they're a little bigger on the edge than Carolina. They're a little bit better playing downhill at backer. But I thought as the game moved along, offensively and defensively, some really good adjustments by the coaching staff.
James Cook with some explosive plays in this game. They got him involved in the passing game. We saw Ty Johnson in the passing game as well. Something that I know we have numbers on this, guys. Like last year, the Bills EPA passing to running backs, they were number 1 in the league. It was a big part of everybody eats. It was a big part of why they were able to sustain without, studs at receiver. They used backs. And, Ray Davis has been kind of lost. This is a Ty Johnson performance here. Like he was more involved in this game. He did get away with a fumble, got it back. but we saw both backs in the passing game catching touchdowns, which is a return to the matchup stuff they've been able to use in the past.
So important. It's so important for the Bills offense and Josh Allen in particular when he's willing to throw the ball to these running backs. Josh puts maximum stress on a defense because of his own physical skill set with his ability to run, his access to the entire field with his arm. When he's willing to take that, boy, that's tough because, there are times where he's reluctant. He'll turn it down. He'll not get his eyes there. And you're like, boy, I just would have loved to have seen, one-on-one Ty Johnson against this safety or this linebacker and see what it looks like. When Josh is willing to pull the trigger on that, I think that it really helps open up the rest of the offense because now you have a little bit more commitment from the backers or, you're at second level to play with a little bit more width and coverage, and it opens things up. So that's a really important element of, I think, the Bills offense when it's going to be at its best. There's going to be, a commitment to throwing the ball to these running backs.
And to piggyback on what Joe said, they manipulate it by alignment. I mean, It kind of drives me a little bit crazy, but if you notice when the Bills, their back is wide, away from the quarterback in those passing looks. And there's a reason for that because they're putting them out there knowing that the coverage then does what? Has to widen and flex. And if you don't, I bet I can get the ball to Ty Johnson and he's going to beat you in a foot race one-on-one. And we saw that work. Josh, he's got to get more and more comfortable doing that because on that fourth down play that we didn't go ahead and get, Ty Johnson's wide open over there to make that play and get the first down. He's got to see it more and get more used to it, but there's a reason for that. And I like it because, hell, if we're not going to use them to block, which was evident early when we're lining up in what looked like empty inside of our 5-yard line, and they're bringing heat, I'm like, people are going, well, what are we doing protection-wise? We're letting guys in. We don't have anybody in the backfield to help. We only got 5 up front to block. So at that point, it's hard for Josh Allen to account for 2 extras, right? So, he's just once he gets more and more comfortable hitting that back on that wide look and the pass looks, it'll be even better and better.
On that early pressure, they had a free runner at Josh. They had slide protection right. You had Dion on the island to the left. I know this is a lot to recall after a broadcast watch, but David Edwards, was he supposed to fan back out if it's slide right? They had a B gap rusher there that wasn't accounted for.
That's the tough look we've talked about in the past about where if you go ahead and point to the right and it's slide right and they run a sim pressure where the guy that you're sliding to drops and they bring the other dude. If you can get out there late, you get out there late, but you're God. I mean, you have to honor the slide because if the nose, the proper way to do it is the nose then or the guy that's on McGovern needs to work his way to the left, which will definitely lock up David Edwards and free up that blitzer. The beauty of it is if the quarterback is in tune with what the line's doing, he should know by protection that's his guy coming. He's going to have to get rid of the ball. It's coming. He's coming right in his face. Now, I have to watch it on all 22 to see if there's something else to it. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard on the sim looks.
It's been something that's been happening to them a lot, right? Like free rushers, a regular part of this offense's experience that didn't necessarily happen after that play. A number of people tweet after a play like that will say, like, that's on Josh, identifying, calling protection schemes. Like, what is the primary reason that stuff has been happening to them for an offensive line that's been together for a long time? Like, we got a lot of snaps with these guys.
Right. Sometimes you look and there's just technique breakdowns. There's technique breakdowns and philosophy breakdowns of what you need to do to protect the passer. The other part of it is other teams have gotten much better in their sim pressure looks against Josh Allen because in the past, it was always the Bills blocked 5 and Josh would handle everybody else. When it was a lot cleaner, Josh was much more, he wasn't as confused on who was coming and who wasn't. If you can cause confusion on who you bring, that's where you have the issue with the quarterback because if Josh knows where the guy's coming from, he can already at the snap be moving away from it to buy himself time. Teams have progressed in their sim pressures against the Bills and have done a very, very good job of taking away the right side scramble. If they drop they have a spy guy up in the line of scrimmage, dropping him off to the middle to where he's disguised, and then bringing somebody that you don't expect to come. And it's just going to take more and more repetitions to get used to it.
The early run-through numbers from Pro Football Focus has the Bucs blitzing Josh on 20 of 34 dropbacks in this game. Josh went 12 of 18 for 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then, of course, the 2 interceptions. But I would say 12 of 18 is pretty good in terms of efficiency against the blitz. And the good news is, like, he was only under pressure on 10 of 34 dropbacks. So it wasn't super effective in getting pressured. Actually, his pressure numbers are pretty decent, especially considering how much blitzing they did. So the Bills were able to figure some things out there in terms of where to get the ball to when they blitzed. Especially
if you bought into the broadcast coverage of the exotic blitzes of Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. That's a pretty good job by the Bills.
I thought Todd Bowles had a rough day, bad challenge, punts, and just overall, I mean, like, I don't know. He tends to do that.
Todd Bowles. He was Todd. I mean,
that's right. That's right. He's Todd
But
Bowles.
I got to ask you, Jeremy, did you go in at all? Were you at the game at all?
No, I was pregame, then I was home for the game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Was the wind that bad? Because there was a lot of guys, like, I don't expect Curtis Samuel to catch that ball on the sideline twice.
Yeah, right.
But the first time it get into his chest, Gabe Davis caught some balls in on his chest. It almost
Egbuka's drop. I thought Egbuka's drop 100%. Like, he thought the ball was going to be in his hands.
Right.
And, like,
there was some knuckleball situations going on the field. It looked pretty tough for receivers.
Yep. Yeah, I thought so. When I was there at the stadium earlier in the day, it was very windy throughout. Like, so much so that, if you're walking around, you think nobody's going to throw the ball in this wind. It's just going to be a handoff day, and both quarterbacks were able to do it. Also, let's not sleep on one thing that could have brought out the best in Josh, if we may. Baker, right? During the week, the two of them getting after each other a little bit, friendly competition, ribbing each other over golf. Like, that's what you need to do with Josh. That's who we're talking about here, right? Get a guy on the other side to make a play and throw the ball in the stands and flex, and that's Baker doing it. And I just know, like, I don't know. We're always battling for the soul and the psyche of Allen, but I don't think it's a coincidence you got his best when he saw Baker.
Oh, you got his best when he played Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, and Baker Mayfield. I think it's pretty clear. I mean, it's time. Hey, Josh, Drake May, just treat him like he's one of those guys. You know what I mean? You go ahead and play like that against him too. But yeah, I think there's Josh in these quarterback matchups. He's really elevated. I think very clearly his best 3 games: Baltimore, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, against 3 other marquee quarterbacks.
Bill Squad show here. Let's talk about Keon Coleman when we return, what it means to have missed the Friday meeting, the path forward for him. Sean McDermott has said at his postgame he still believes in the young man, but obviously not a good scene today ahead of the game. And the Bills, I mean, they romp without Coleman. So there's the on-field element of it. There's the off-field element of it. We'll get to Keon Coleman and his role coming up here on the Bill Squad show. This episode of Bill Squad is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has an offer for you. The NBA's back. No better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you missed the start of a game and want to ride a hot hand, FanDuel can offer that to you. Everything from who scores to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. So FanDuel right now is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Bill Squad show here. Thanks for joining us live on YouTube. Of course, maybe you're listening in the podcast form. We do our shows live on YouTube as well. We stream here, part of the Locked On Network, and happy to have you with us here for our post game of Bills and Bucs. The Bills win, a big win for them, a good win for them as well, beating a Tampa team that's lost 2 in a row now to the Patriots and the Bills. So not a good crossover for the Bucs in the AFC East. Prior to the game, yesterday it was starting to trickle out. Looked like Keon Coleman would not play, would be a healthy scratch. And guys, I don't know about you, but like the timing of it was a bit odd. I thought, man, I know Gabe is getting close, but I had heard Gabe won't be playing. And then that flipped quickly. And I thought, okay, this could be disciplinary. And sure enough, we find out he missed a meeting on a Friday. And Jerry, you texted us about this. Like, what does it mean, not just to miss a meeting, but Friday? Is that more significant?
Yes, it is. As a player getting ready for a game on Sunday, your priorities flip as the week goes on. When it's early in the week, it's about training room, weight room, then getting on the field and practicing. You have your meetings during the day and you're doing, your game planning and stuff. But as the week goes on the field reps start to diminish and the meeting time starts to raise, so that by Friday, these meetings are this is your game prep. You should be locking in for Sunday as you get closer and closer to that day. And when you get to Friday, that's like the last meaningful game. It's usually a shorter day. You go home, get to spend some time with your family. Sunday or Saturday, have a walkthrough, go to the hotel at night, and then it's go time on Sunday. So as you're ramping up the week, Friday's that final day of preparation. And if you can't get yourself to meetings on time on Friday, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And it's not just seen from the coaching staff, it's seen from the guys in that meeting room also. And that's the difference. I mean, you know, earlier in the week, there's things that happen. You got treatments. Maybe you have to go to a doctor's appointment because of an injury. There's all kinds of stuff. But once you get to Friday, the hay's in the barn. And the mental part of it becomes much, much more than the physical part of it. You should be gearing up with all your energy then flows to Sunday. If you can't get to a meeting on time, that's one thing. If you miss one entirely, which has been what was said, that is a very, very big deal.
Especially now this being his third known disciplinary measure, to miss a Friday meeting is just not a good sign. And then the offense looks really good, right? I mean, wide open. They're making plays on the field. Tyrell Shavers, who probably benefited the most from the playing time, goes out and has 4 for 90. And Gabe Davis, who maybe wasn't even supposed to play, winds up going out and making a positive impact. 3 catches, 40 yards, plays 23 out of the 56 offensive snaps. So, yeah, Keon, you go ahead and open that door for someone else to do your job. They might like they might like what it looks like without you in there.
And this is one other point I want to make. And I haven't been in the locker room or the facility during the week of game prep. Okay. So I'm not privy to any of this. I haven't been told anything. I'm just giving you experience. So, you know, please don't jump to conclusions. But what I will say is this is why player-led teams are better than coach-led teams. Because in the day and age of the 90s Bills, if you didn't show up to a Friday meeting, Marv or Wade or whoever wouldn't have had to say a word. It'd have been handled by the dudes in that locker room, and it wouldn't have been good. And I don't know what type of structure they have. I know that they like one another and they're tight. And sometimes I wonder if there's an attitude guy in there that'll grind on somebody if they make mistakes like this. I think really, honestly, if this is going to get fixed in the future, it's going to get fixed because there's guys in that locker room that are big time players that are important, are going to be the ones that put the screws to them, as opposed to, you know, just the GM or the head coach and benching him and give him a fine. I mean, there's got to be some accountability from the group. The group needs to lead in this situation.
I think you're going to like this quote from McDermott just moments ago. The ball finds the guys who work hard.
Yeah.
And there's Tyrell Shavers. Yeah,
Woo!
right? Like, that's a shot. The guy.
And there's number 24 who found the ball too.
Yep. The ball finds the guys that work hard. And one quick shout, I actually got a great picture of this. Like, you know, we have access to some pictures. If you go back and watch the highlight, I want people to go back and watch the Shavers touchdown catch, because it's not just any catch to me. Like, the trust he has in his hands on that play, he is falling away. He's not body catching that against the ground. He is like that's a hand catch on the sideline. He made an incredible catch against the Bucs in the preseason, and we thought he maybe made the team by making the catch. And this touchdown catch he makes from Josh Allen, I know he's wide open, but to me, guys, like, that was a massive, confident player kind of catch for him. Like, that's a big boy catch.
Find the guy there in the Von Miller jersey. He's got one heck of an angle there with his camera. That guy's got a heck of an Instagram reel right there, buddy. I want to see it.
It looks like the fireman from the Jets has flipped over to the Bills too.
Yeah, that guy's not having a good moment there. You can tell he's concerned.
But no, I think that, you know, and I think what McDermott said is 100% true. I mean, you know, what God gave you limits the ceiling you can get to, but you limit where you can get to what God gave you. And if you work and put the effort in and have a great attitude, because those are the only two things you can control as an athlete, is your attitude and your effort. If that's right, everything else is out of your hands.
I wonder what Thursday looks like. Like, Coleman, he's not going to play, right? And then do we have Josh Allen against, by the way, Houston, who is a very good pass defense, number one maybe in the league. Yeah. Now he has Davis, who he trusts, Palmer, who they've worked together a little bit here, but he has really he's got a couple off seasons with Shavers. I don't know. Like, I wonder what Shavers could get to in Allen's eyes. Is this just hey, the kid works hard and that's great? Or does he start to really feel a level of, I know where he's going to be, or I feel like I can count on this guy? He had 4 catches on 5 targets.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I've liked a lot of Tyrell Shaver's route running in the preseason, and then kind of get to the regular season, and he has been kind of ordinary blending in, and the Bills are a lot more scheme oriented with route combinations than they are, hey, go win a route and get a bucket for us. And so that kind of hides maybe some of those flashes that we enjoyed from Shavers. Looking at this Houston game, I know that, well, it'll come quick. This game's going to be about the offensive tackle, Spencer Brown, Deion Dawkins against Will Anderson. And I don't know, Jerry, I'm taking your talk. Will Anderson.
I can't win with this guy, man. I can't win.
Hey, listen. I knew I had to get to it before you did.
I can't win.
I saw the opening. I had to take it there. But that's what it's going to come down to, these O tackles versus those edge rushers, because I do think, if the Bills are just going to run structured plays against Houston, you're going to see a 14-10 loss. But if you kind of play a little loose, which I think you're going to have to against Houston, especially on a Thursday night, it's going to come down to those offensive tackles and how well they can protect.
That's exactly what I was going to get into. I'm not concerned about receivers this week or running backs or Josh Allen. I'm concerned about that front 5 blocking somebody, because that's going to be the difference maker. This is a front that can flat get after you. But going back to Shavers, I think it goes in line with what I was talking about early in the show about space in that middle level. We know Josh likes to throw to people he sees, right? And when you have space, who's more visual than a dude that's 6'4", 200 some pounds standing there, right? So I think it kind of went hand in hand. I don't know. I'm not saying that Gabe Davis is the savior, and I'm not saying that Palmer is the savior, but it's amazing how when you put competent vets in positions to do things, how it opens up other areas and makes people have to play with more respect than just selling out to one thing or the other.
Well, this is one of my messages all week this week. It's been raining down hard on Brandon Beane about the wide receiver conversation. And once the deadline passed, all right, we got to this spot. What can you do about it now? Maybe you wanted Waddle. All right, well, that's passed. We can cry about it, or you can get to work on what you have now. And what the Bills did today was put out their best wide receiver group of the season. Doesn't mean you have to love it for 5 years, but they gave themselves their best chance, and they ran concepts down the field. Allen throws to Samuel down the field, to Shavers down the field.
Hardman. Yeah,
Hardman. A shot to Hardman. What you got was a passing game that looks like it should be taken seriously. And, if we want to talk about improving those targets in the offseason, that's fine. But you are in season, and the job of the coaches and the job of everybody is to, get this thing back on track, get Allen back on track. And right about now, guys, I'm in one of those modes where I feel like I'm not betting against Josh Allen ever. He plays like that, even with some mistakes. I love the Bills' chances in a lot of matchups. I feel better about the Houston game than I did coming in because of how they played against Tampa, who was no slouch. It's a good team that they just beat.
A lot of intentionality with some of the down the field stuff. Yes. There was some off script moments, but there were times where the Bills dialed up deep throws and designed an athlete down the field to get him the football. And was it always successful? No, but they did it. And I think that, combined with stressing them horizontally with some running back throws, opened up some of the middle of the field stuff that ultimately kept the Bills offense on schedule and led to them winning the game.
And a lot of plays were left on the field as well. There was plays left all over the place in the field where, again, the first time all season we saw a lot of productivity in the scramble area, right? The scramble drill area. He missed Samuel on an open pass to one time, or I think not Samuel, Palmer on the sideline. And a nice little kind of concept that I liked. He kind of had a little bit of a roll out to the right. Palmer come all the way across the field on that deep drag and missed him there. Samuel maybe turns the wrong way, a little miscommunication. That was possibly a big play in the scramble drill. Just different. And I know we like complimentary football, but we haven't talked about it yet. If you're going to give up that many yards rushing and not control the line of scrimmage, you better score points.
How many passes behind the line of scrimmage in this game? This is I cannot wait to tweet out. Follow me on Twitter at Jeremy WG. I cannot wait.
I think it was 3.
It's 3.
Yeah.
I can't wait to tweet out this pass.
And one of them was a 40. And one of them was a 47 yard touchdown. Yeah.
Yep. But this is a passing chart. Next Gen Stats has it charted. It's just beautiful. 19 of 30, 317, 3, and his completion percentage over expected is a -3, which would be to say it wasn't even his best day, but the ball is down the field. How many throws between 10 and 20 yards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm over 10. I had 3 throws over 40 yards. Guys, like it's water to a thirsty man in the desert to see this passing dot chart from Next Gen Stats.
And the other thing is, and I know I hate to keep harping on injuries, but with that much space in the game, add Kincaid to that aspect if he was playing. I mean, who knows what would happen?
I want to ask Jerry a question here. Deion Dawkins, a couple of false starts in this game. It feels like there's a couple of mental letdowns from Deion just about every single week. I mean, you've been around offensive linemen that have made mental mistakes. What goes into that? How do you get him out of this?
I think Deion, you saw him play pretty clean most of the early part of the season, right? Yeah. And now all of a sudden, what week are we in?
11.
Yeah. How old's Deion?
I don't know. 30,
31. He's been doing a long time. There's a point in time sometimes with the older vets, they hit a wall a little bit in the middle of the season with health and things like that, and he'll work through it. He's fine. The thing about Deion that I love is he doesn't pout. He doesn't, something happens and he goes into a shell and then doesn't. I mean, he just keeps every snap. He goes out, forgets in that last one, and battles again. He'll be fine. I think a lot of it just has to do with attrition and age, and he's not a small man. He's a big man and big man. And I think that's has a little bit to do with it. It's just, especially if maybe he's dragging a leg or something we don't know about. So it takes a little more out of you to get where you need to be. And then you're trying to jump the snap because of it. There's things like that you have to think about as well that we don't know. But yeah, he'll be fine. He'll work out of it. He's a pro's pro, and I don't have any concern over that.
Excited to hear the all-22 breakdown, Joe, and what we see out of the passing game, how the line handled the Falcons blitz a little bit better. They had answers against the blitz, something that's really hurt this team. Allen's been rough under pressure this year, and he made the Bucs pay. Sorry if I said Falcons. Anyway, Bucs. NFC South. The NFC South games have been wild, I guess.
We're done with them, though, right?
We're done. It's over. 2-2. Right? 2-2.
No, they're 3-1. They beat Carolina, New Orleans.
Oh, you're right.
And
lost to the Falcons and beat the other 3. That's right.
So we got a chance to win that division this year. Maybe not the AFCs, but might be able to win this NFC South.
Listen, if I'm New England, I'm okay. They're not dead yet. That's the demise of the Buffalo Bills has been greatly exaggerated between the Bills win today and the way the offense looked, and New England losing defensive tackle Milton Williams for a month, and he'll miss the Bills game, and the Ravens game. All right. All of a sudden, that New England defense that is totally built on stopping the run is missing a piece.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because let's take that and carry it over into the Buffalo Bills. We've lost our Milton Williams weeks ago, okay, and Ed Oliver, right? I know that the defense is not what it's supposed to be, okay? They know it's not what it's supposed to be, but what are you bringing out on the field every week? What are you playing with? What are you lining up with? Do you think that there is a way to stop the run? If there was a way to stop the run with the personnel that's on the field to where you just do it and there'd be no issues, do you not think they would call it? And I know I get frustrated because I think sometimes people feel like unless you go ahead and run bear, I don't know if we can run bear or not. We'll cover up both guards in the center and maybe be able to run bear, but we don't have a bear linebacker. That's a problem. It's hard right now with the personnel we have. Bosa's obviously hurt. The wrist he did the first play of the game. He drug it around all game and it affected him. I talked about it earlier. You got TJ Sanders playing meaningful reps at defensive end. He was on the IR for the last how many weeks? Shows up his first game. He's not even playing the position they drafted him to play. We talked about, Deion Walker, who that is a total perception and reality situation. There's perception on one way, but reality is it's inconsistent and not always great. It's either feast or famine. So there's so many deficiencies on that defensive side of the ball. It's held together with duct tape.
TJ Sanders didn't play a single snap at defensive tackle. All 19 of his snaps he lined up over the offensive tackle as a defensive end. All 19.
And they ran to his side, and he's squeezing inside like he's playing defensive tackle. I'm like, you got to get contained and get outside, but that's not what he does.
Wouldn't that lead
Morgan Fox? You ready, baby? You ready to go?
Shouldn't I feel like then that's correctable? Like that's not going to be a long-term problem. That won't be the plan going forward, right?
But
so
it's correctable, but
through roster adjustments. Not like Sanders is going to be like they're just not going to have him there. I would think.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like through injury and everything, right now with where they are, what are you going to play? Who's going to line up? It's you can't.
Welcome back,
if you
Jerry
can't,
Hughes.
right? That's what exactly.
What's he up to?
I don't know.
It's time for another
Mario Addison. What you doing, brother?
Right.
Yep.
Right.
All right. It's Bill Squad Show.
Is Sam Adams available? We can bring Sam back.
Hey, Casey Toohill was in for a workout a couple weeks ago.
But I know it's frustrating, and I'm frustrated as well. But it's just, if you're supposed to play B gap and you're getting blown out of B gap 5 yards downfield, it doesn't matter what you call.
It's the Bill Squad Show. We'll get back some of your comments, start to look towards Houston, give you the schedule we've got for you as well, because with a Thursday game, we're all going to be a little bit messy with what day of the week it is. So we will get you the details on that. Jeremy, Joe Marino, and the big O Jerry Ostroski here on the Bill Squad Show. I'm announcing Josh Allen as AFC Offensive Player of the Week ahead of it. You get 6 touchdowns, you get it. I don't know what else could possibly beat it. But around the league, of course, the Chiefs and the Broncos playing today. That's a big game to watch. The Chiefs could miss out on the playoffs, I suppose. That could happen, right? So, we're watching that. They're
Broncos up 6-3 halfway through the second quarter.
That's right. So the Chiefs coming in off a bye. Meanwhile, the Browns are up 6-3 on Baltimore. So, hey, keep Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cincinnati out of the playoffs, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think that Steelers win today was good for the Bills, knocking off the Bengals. Obviously, we want them to be in a hole. Joe Burrow may be coming back, but if the Ravens are going to catch Pittsburgh and the Bills are going to have to maybe go to Baltimore in the opening round, you want to avoid that. So I think the Steelers win today was really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Couple texts we've got about this. Someone wrote in, how much cap space can the Bills save by cutting Coleman? None. They're not going to cut Keon Coleman. He's on a rookie contract. He's on the team, and maybe they need him. He might have to come up big for them later in the season if there's a bunch of injuries. Like when he gets back in, we don't know. But, off season, I'm sure it'll be a big conversation what they're going to do there. Does he need to change the scenery? Blah, blah, blah.
Here's your answer. They would accumulate $5.5 million in dead cap and lose $2.7 million in 2026 cap savings.
Okay.
Will not happen.
Yeah, don't want to do that.
Will he be traded? Yeah, you could trade him and you would get a little over $2 million in cap savings, but you got to trade him. So I think that's the off-season conversation, depending on what happens the rest of the way.
Yep, absolutely. I think it's likely, but we'll see. That's a conversation for when we get to that point. The other comment, I'd like to dig into the turnovers, if you guys will indulge me here, because can't be happy with a game like this. 3 turnovers, unacceptable. Is where I make my pitch. We're 52 minutes into the show. Accept turnovers, and you will be freed. You know what was not a turnover? Todd Bowles punting on 4th and 2 with 7 minutes left. That's not a turnover. That's just I'm going to give the other team the ball, and that doesn't go in the stat sheet as a turnover. One of Josh Allen's turnovers was on a 4th down play where the who'd they play today? Bucs lost field position. Don't tell me about he threw a pick. Who cares?
Yeah, that was very good that he intercepted that pass because it was 15 yards.
Absolutely. Yep. It's a 4th down play. If it gets batted down, it's not a turnover. And Joe, you're going to kind of joke this is my favorite way to see the Bills play. All that a game like this does, though, it highlights failed drives and successful drives. Because I just think when you're playing at the top, like the Bills are trying to knock off the Chiefs, and maybe it's going to be the Colts or it's going to be Lamar and the Ravens or whoever it might be by the time we get to the playoffs, you're playing at the top level. I don't expect anybody to stop Josh Allen. I don't expect great defenses to stop Patrick Mahomes all that often. I expect these guys to get their points. And what I want is the Bills to live in failed drives and successful drives, and a interception and a punt. Sure, there's some field position involved. You don't want to throw a pick like Josh did at the 6. They got out with 3 points and they live to fight another day. It's something that I wish the Bills would kind of embrace a little bit more. They built an entire offense that looks like it's afraid of turnovers, and yet here they are, 3 turnovers, 44 points. Just don't live in fear, play your game. So, off my soapbox, I'm just another day. It's another day where I know they're going to talk about turnovers, but I'm just telling you, if you don't worry about it, you might just rip 300 yards passing and 6 touchdowns from your quarterback.
Hey, you score 6 offensive touchdowns, you should win just about every game.
Yes,
that's right. That's right.
So do that. Do the stuff where you score 6 touchdowns.
How about that formula? Instead of run and stop the run, just score 6 touchdowns.
Just do that.
I think it'll work.
I'll tell you who wants to stop the run. That's Jordan Poyer, because that sucker had 15 tackles today. He was like, come on now. I'm too old for this. I'll do 8 or 9, but 15, that's a little too much.
Tyrell Bernard, I think this was a much better game for him. I want to give him a little bit of a shout out. He made some plays. You could tell he's playing with a busted wheel on that 3rd down scramble by Baker.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my goodness, you look like Reggie Ragland trying to pursue here. I give him some grace. He's playing with the busted wheel, but a couple tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups in this game. I thought his impact, you can kind of feel it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I thought he played pretty well, especially in space. He made plays in space today. He fired inside a few times, but it was a better game for him for sure.
James writes in about Josh. You can't make stupid turnovers in the playoffs like the first interception. He never does.
Playoffs?
But he also never does. You get it. It's kind of like it's an extension of the point we brought up where we said, hey, he's playing Baker. He's locked in. The playoffs is almost always a game like that. And he saves his best for when the opponent on the other side is the best, and he doesn't make those stupid mistakes in the playoffs. So, not too worried about it. Anyway, Bills win. Big game for Tyrell Shavers. Big game for Josh Allen, of course. James Cook on the day, 16 for 48 with a long of 8.
But 100 scrimmage yards, I'm pretty sure.
That's right.
Three catches for 66 yards and a touchdown, 25-yard touchdown catch.
Pretty good.
I think some of those games from James Cook are okay. Like, we love 27 for 150, but this is cool too sometimes.
Yep. Jordan Poyer, as you were mentioning, Jerry, credited with 15 tackles. Bernard 11, Milano 7, sacks in the game. Daquan Jones got there. I thought Baker did a really good job of getting away from pressure when the Bills were able to get there.
Yeah, until they put Dorian Williams.
Over top, baby. It was legit. Right. That's huge.
That's 2 weeks in a row. That's been a big. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, not 2 weeks in a row. The Kansas City game, and then this one, that was a big deal.
Yep. All right. Final thoughts before we sign off. Thank everyone for tuning in and streaming with us here. Bills win and off to Houston for a game against the Texans. House of Horrors. Last time they went there, it was a rough game. Allen goes 9 for 30, and Houston's defense is really dangerous. So we'll see how it goes.
Final thought from me is thinking about Houston on Thursday night. You're always worried about injuries on a short week. I think the Bills had everybody finish the game except for McCole Hardman, who hurt his calf and was ruled out for the game. I don't think another player had an announced injury in this game. Now, there's always a mystery injury with the Bills, right? That's part of the deal. But short of a mystery injury, I think they got out of this one pretty clean.
I think the one we're going to have to watch for is Joey Bosa. Does he play this week, or do they put the cast back on? Obviously, that wrist isn't even close to being 100%. I think he's a name to watch this week on the injury reports.
All right. We'll be watching. And, of course, to see what else is said about Keon Coleman and, Deion Dawkins. Quick quote here. Left tackle Deion Dawkins on a message to Keon Coleman in the locker room said, quote, Keon knows now he's in the hot seat. He needs to come on and show up for us. Pats on the back are over with. It's time for him to grow up, and he knows it.
Boy,
that's what I'm talking about.
Do you remember what Deion said about Keon before the season?
Yes,
talking about how just wait and all this stuff, and it's all coming together. Boy,
that's what that was the point I was trying to make. Yeah. Deion made my point. Yep, very good for him.
Jeremy, make sure we get to schedule stuff. I know it's a weird week.
So we're gonna do post game on Thursday, right? And we're doing during the week. We're gonna smash one in here. Is the plan?
Maybe. We got a lot of conflicts this week, so if we don't get one in between now and Thursday, we'll do Thursday post game. We'll be back again Monday and Thursday next week. So stay tuned. We'll let you know the best we can.
Yeah, we do 2 a week, and the short week kind of makes things a little tough, so we'll do the best we can. But looks like we'll be good for Thursday night. We'll see. Thanks everyone for listening, following along, streaming, writing in your comments. Give us a like and a subscribe. Of course, subscribe to the Locked On Bills podcast. Joe's going to be putting out all the All-22, all the stuff he does during the week. It's going to come fast and furious with a game on Thursday against the Texans. The Bills try to keep pace with the Patriots, and we'll keep an eye on the out-of-town scoreboard because the Chiefs and the Ravens both look like they're in trouble. The Ravens down 13-3 in Cleveland.
6-6 with 4:38 to go in the second quarter. Broncos, Chiefs.
We'll keep an eye on it. Gentlemen, thank you. Enjoy your Victory Monday. Happy Victory Sunday to everyone out there, and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Much love. Go Bills.